cost of freedom can be seen at your local VA. That is, I mean, that's set right there. But coming home, I mean, everybody was really happy to come home, but the thing was, is we only have a 16-hour flight coming back from Vietnam, and then you had to come back. You had to come back to people that was protesting and all, and so we were going to land at McChord Air Force Base, and so when we got to McChord, they had protesters at the gate. So we had to stay in the air for a while longer. But the thing was, is that the Green Beret that was on the plane, they had their weapons with them, and they were just going to take them out. So we had to stay in the air so we didn't have no trouble. But after being there for 12 months, you don't want nobody to tell you what you can't do, and so it's just, then when you get off the plane, I mean, and everybody just hates you. I mean, they call you everything under the book. When I got down on the ground, I mean, I kissed the ground because, I mean, I was back. And I still remember the day that when we came back, because I remember the day that I left in Vietnam was on June 26th of '68 at 8:30 in the morning. When I got back, it was 8:10 in the morning on the 26th, 20 minutes before I left Vietnam because of the date line, but I get a kick out of that. But first thing I remember, and I just told her today too, is I seen a picture of Mount Rainier, and I says that was the last thing I seen before I left, first thing I seen when I got back, and I knew that I was in the States. But it was a different type of States. That it wasn't the same States that I left.
How so?
Pardon?
How so?
It's just people, they just didn't care about, they could care less about us soldiers. They just listened to the media, and so the thing was, is that we had to kind of bring ourselves into things. I mean, we had to relate ourselves into it and then just get comfortable. But it was hard getting comfortable because, I mean, I didn't like nobody sneaking up on me. I had problems, but in 1979 things started coming down a lot worse for me, because I could care less about jobs. I could care less about, I was drinking, and just like everybody will tell you, they self-medicated themselves. I didn't do drugs, but I did alcohol, and it was nothing for me to drink a lot. Well, I think it was seeing things that, when you're 18 years old and you see, you see things that no one should ever see and nobody should ever do. But I mean, you're in the military and you have to do what you're told, and no matter if you like it or not. And to this day, I can still tell you different days that I was over there and what happened on those days. And I mean, I've got so many brothers that they're gone. I keep trying to tell people that I don't know why I'm here. And I don't know why I'm here, because there's been so many times that I should have, as they say, bought the farm, and I didn't. So, but then I know, like Marilyn, she'll tell me, she says, well, God's got something for you to do. But I says, I understand that, but there's only one thing. I can't get it into here because my brothers never came home. Why? And I mean, it just bothered me to no extent.
It's your family and the veterans you're helping is what brought you home.
Well,
You
yeah, I understand that, but it's just you just can't. I mean, even though I talk to people. I mean, and when you talk to people, they don't understand you. They just kind of shun you on, but it's only the vets that know. And it's like a friend of mine that he was in Vietnam at the same time I was, and I go to a PTSD group, and I give hats away. And so I met his wife at a grocery store, and I said, she said, well, my husband was there at the same time. And I said, well, I said, and something that I hate to say, is he still with us? And thank God she said, yeah, he's still here. And I said, well, good. I said, does he have any benefits? And she says, well, I don't know. I said, well, I know she would know if she had benefits. And so the thing was, is that I said, here's my telephone number. I went out and I got a hat for him, and I gave it to her to give to him. He called me up. We talked for an hour and a half. I had him come to my meeting, and I was so thrilled that when he came to the meeting, he says, you know what? He says, this is just like our brotherhood in Nam, that everybody just felt like he knew everybody, and I mean, we just hit it off fantastic. But it's just that people don't understand that veterans help veterans, and that's what being in brotherhood and sisterhood is all about, is loving each other and not anything else. And so, but you know, it's just, I'm proud to say that I'm a Vietnam vet, and when I was 18 when I went over. I turned 19 7 months into country. I was 19 when I came home. I met my wife. Something that I always say too, and I know that I told you earlier, is that when we went to get married, went to get our license, she showed her ID, she got to sign the paper, and here I was 20 years old. We were going to get married 2 days after I turned 21. And our government, you have to be 21. So I had to have my parents sign for me to get married, but I could go through a war, I could die for my country, but why did it 2 days? What a lousy 2 days. I mean, but the thing is that I'm glad they came and signed for me. We got married, and I just can't even say. I mean, my kids just grew up fantastic. I got beautiful grandkids, great grandkids. Oh my gosh, I mean,
Yeah, we have a beautiful family.
we just got a beautiful family that, you know, we love each
We are
other.
blessed with them.
And God has blessed us all. And I know God has blessed me and Marilyn with you, Susan, because you've showed me a lot even since you've been here. And I mean, and you're showing the light, as I say, the light for us Vietnam veterans. And we need more of this. We need more. I mean, it doesn't mean recognition, but we need them to know what we went through. Is like I said earlier about, would you eat food that was 25 years old? Well, that's what Vietnam veterans are doing in 1967, 68, 69, and 70. I'm sure they still ate it. I think at that time I was making $302 a month, and wow. That if you figure it out, It was 13 cents an hour to get killed. Now, tell me anybody here in the United States, don't want to work for less than X amount of dollars, and they sure don't want to get killed. I mean, none of us want to get killed, but I mean, it's just the point that here our troops are very important to us. If it wasn't for our troops, we may be speaking German, Russian, heck, you never know what you're going to be talking. But the thing of it is, it's guys that, there's a little saying that comes out that we signed a check for the amount up to and beyond our death. And there's nobody that except servicemen that would do that. And somebody that loves their country. I love my country, and I mean, and I'll protect my country to my last breath. I'll to protect my family to my last breath. There's no expiration date, just like on the sea rations. There's no expiration date on the oath of enlistment. And so every veteran is the same. We'll fight to our death. I mean, it doesn't sound, some people think, well, that's sure extravagant, but life is too short anyhow. But if we can make the life better for our country needs it. Well, I think one was my dad. He was in the service. My uncles were in the service. My cousins were in the service. I mean, it keeps going back. I mean, my cousin, she took we got a family tree that went back to 1775 that she could get it back. And I mean, there's the whole way through, you could see all the ROMs that actually fought and died in the wars, and it was the reason they were trying to make it better for everyone, not just our family, but everyone. But the thing is that sometimes that when you said about why am I patriotic, I don't know if I want to say patriotic as much as is the love for my brothers and my sisters. I mean, I know how they feel, and I don't want to be called a patriot or anything, because the fact is that that's just a word. I mean, as we said, like with the Gedunk medals that we got in Vietnam, I call them Gedunk medals because they didn't mean nothing. And the thing is that with that and 10 cents, you got a cup of coffee. And so, well, I mean, if it didn't have, I mean, now it's $7 for a cup of coffee. So there's just so many things that has developed. I mean, and I think that one of the most ideal things was probably 20 years ago is, when I started getting all my ailments from Agent Orange, and I had in '97 I got my first couple tumors on my spine from Agent Orange and got them operated on. Then they came back 9 weeks later, so I had to find somebody that would operate, and it took me from '97 to 2005 to get somebody and then they gave me a 20% chance that I'd ever walk again. Yeah, it was growing. There was 4 of them. But the one that they worried more about was the one that went from L2 to L5, and it was taking up 70% of my spinal cord. They didn't want to touch me again because when they didn't have the more modern conveniences in '97 as they did in 2005, but even with the laser and they burn it off, that it still came back 10 weeks later. But my doctor, I remember my doctor, he was a great guy. I mean, I owe him a lot. And I remember he told me, he says that, Bob, he says, you know, I'm going to give you a 50-50 chance that they'll come back. And he says, I'm giving you, he says, and you might not want to do it because there's only a 20% chance you'll ever walk again. And I said, let's do it. I said, can you do it tonight? And he says, no. 9 weeks later, I walked into his office and he said, he came out and he had tears in his eyes. And I said, what's the matter, Doc? And he says, Bob, they came back. And I says, okay. But then we just talked, and I mean, that's when he was saying more about the 20%. And so, I mean, 80% was against me, but heck, I mean, look what was against me in Vietnam. I mean, you don't give up. None of us gives up. I mean, if you give up, you're done. So you never want to give up. You want to keep pushing forward, which I hope any new veterans does the same thing. I mean, and I hate to see that nowadays we have like 22 guys a day, and it hurts. Oh, I've tried to help them. I mean, I've talked to them. I don't care where they're at. I mean, I'll call them or I'll not to give up. Talk to people. You know, is get it out of your system. Don't think about it so much. I mean, even though it's been 55 years or 54 years since I've been back, I still have, you know, all the memories. I mean, you're not going to get rid of them. But the thing of it is, you don't let those memories ruin your life. And my first part of our marriage, I mean, and I'm going to be honest, I'd have got rid of my butt way before, but she put up with me. And I knew how strong that our love was. But the thing was, is I was a complete jerk. I mean, I just couldn't help it, but I mean, I was trying to, I didn't have nobody to really talk to. And that's when I joined a group, and there are so many of my brothers that I love these guys so much, and I know I could mention the names, and Monsoon, and I mean, there's every one of them, and I don't care what. They know that I'm there for them too, and I know they're for me. And the thing is, this is where the 22 guys every day just know we're here for you. We'll go out of our way for you. If I have to get on an airplane and go somewhere just to be with somebody to keep them from doing anything, I'm willing to do it. I might not know them all, but I do know some that's on that wall, and I feel guilty about it, because why should they pay the price and we didn't?
Or maybe they got called home to heaven for eternity earlier than you. Maybe they served their purpose, and they are now and have been resting in peace in heaven, which is what we're all hoping for. That's our goal.
Right.
Well,
they started earlier than you because you needed work to do.
That might be too.
Just like I say, I mean, whenever I see one of my brothers that had passed, we just lost one not too long ago, Bill Hanlon, and Bill was one of the greatest guys that I could ever tell you about. And I mean, it's just like when I told I wrote to his daughter a little, message that just know that our dad's there, but the one thing to always remember, you got a lot of uncles still here, and we're going to help you.
So I was a teenager, and I loved to go to concerts, and I loved to read magazines and buy albums. And I was 17, and I went ahead and I wrote to Teen Screen magazine, and I put my name in a pen pal column, and it was a first for me, but I thought, well, maybe I'll collect pictures of different groups that way. And so I love to collect pictures of groups and go to concerts because I was a really shy girl. And music was always something that was important to me, music and reading and books, because I was so shy that really made me feel special. And it went all around the world, the magazine, which I didn't know. And I had people writing to me from all over the world and all over the United States. Then it also went to Vietnam, which really amazed me because I, had these soldiers writing to me, but it was nothing to do with concerts or music. It was just they needed somebody to write to. So I wrote to every single one of them, and I wrote to all the people that wrote me, and Bob was one of them. And Bob, he said he lived in Santa Ana, which was close to the city I was from, Anaheim. And so he said, that nobody wrote to him, just his parents and his sister, and he would like to be my pen pal. And so I wrote him back, and then he was writing me all these interesting letters, and he also said he wanted a photo because there was no photo. So I sent him a photo, and I told him that I like to go to concerts. He liked music too. And so he told me maybe we could meet when he got back because we live so close, and we could go to a concert or a music place, that I liked. And so that's how Bob and I originally met. And we met when he came at home, and he came to my parents' house. So I was still in high school, and he was a soldier, and I barely went on one date. So they were sort of reserved. So Bob had to spend an hour and a half talking to my dad. But anybody who talks to Bob loves him right away. He has such a genuine personality and love. So they said he could take me to dinner after talking to him for a long time. Not that day, but they met with him, and they had him come to the house again.
Oh, I mean, I was in seventh heaven. I mean, my goodness. I mean, here I am coming back from Vietnam, and I got somebody that wrote to me, and they loved music, and so I was just so happy. I mean, I was thrilled, to be honest. I mean, when I first got home, the first call was to Marilyn, and she was at her aunt's house, and I called her aunt's house just to talk to her and tell her I made it back home. And so then after I talked to her, and we started talking back and forth, but I got to take her out. But to kind of go back on the letters, is that there was a friend of mine that one night I came in, and I was out on patrol, and I come back, and he said, Bob, he says, you want to see some magazines? And I said, well, I want to get this crud off of me. And so the thing was is that I went and cleaned up and came back, and he says, my mom sent these to me. So I says, okay, great. I says, I'll look at one. So the first one I picked was Teen Screen. And I looked in there, and I see, wow, Anaheim, California. And I thought, well, I'm going to write to her, see if she'll write to me. I've written people, nobody writes, so, and it's free to write, so we did. So I got a letter back from her, and I told the whole base exactly, hey, I got a letter from somebody back in the world, We didn't have to use a stamp. They didn't charge us for sending mail out. And then I still remember it was on a Saturday when I got her letter with her picture in it, and man, I was just going around the whole base. I mean,
I was really surprised because I didn't think it even went to Vietnam. And then it was strange because when I said I was in high school, I guess I sent it when I was 16, now that I think about it. But I even wrote a report about the Vietnam War, and as my report, and this is before I got the letters, and I was like, I was with a group of people that were like into music, and the guys had long hair and the girls had long hair, and so when Bob and all the veterans wrote to me, I heard about all the things they would tell me in their stories, what they went through and what they seen, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, they're just a couple years older than me and they're going through all this. I would never be able to do anything like that, and I had such compassion for them, and I wanted to write to every single one.
Well, the second letter, when she sent me a picture, my gosh, I just went crazy, and I told him, I said, I'm going to marry her when I get home. So luck happened. 18 months after I came home, we got married. And so the thing is that when I first met her, I had, like Marilyn said, I had to talk to her dad for an hour and a half, and me and him, it was, I just can't say enough about Mom and Dad, because they ended up being the most wonderful people in the world too. I mean, I just loved them so much, not too much, but so much. We went out, we went to different places, and then I remember she wanted to go to we went to our first concert together. The concert was a Newport Pop Festival that they had at Orange County Fairgrounds in Costa Mesa for 2 days. It was unbelievable. I can't even tell you who all played there. Sonny and Cher, Jimi Hendrix, Buffalo Springfield. Oh my goodness, I mean, there were so many. But that was our first concert, and so we started dating more, and then I remember the first Christmas that we spent together, and it was just fantastic. I made sure she got whatever she wanted because she was that special to me. And so after that, I had to get deployed. I got deployed to Pearl Harbor for 6 months. And so I had to go to myself, but I mean, before we went, I made sure, because I knew we were going to get married. And so we went and got an account set up, and I sent whatever I could back here, and we got it ready for when we got married. But then the day that I proposed to her was more of a national treasure, I would say. Was July 20th in 1969, when the man put his foot on the moon.
Yeah,
and so that's the day we got engaged. And so needless to say, I was one happy lark, man. I asked Dad if I could marry her, and he gave me a yes. So the next day when I came in
at my house.
At her house, I proposed to her. I told her, I says, I got the okay. If it's all right with you, I'd love for you to be my wife. And she said yes, and so the rest is history. Heaven. I mean, that's the way I feel. I mean, it was heaven, because she looked even much more beautiful in person. She had real long hair. Oh my God, I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of that. I mean, just to be able to be with her, I knew our love was going to be there. I mean, even though that some people, they didn't think that, you could do anything like be a pen pal and then, fall in love by that. But I mean,
Bob always was such a good letter writer. He wrote the most beautiful letters. I mean, I loved what he had to say, and he didn't just write one page. He wrote about 5 pages when he wrote to me, and he told me all about his day and how, he was looking forward to coming home and meeting me, and And it was sort of scary because I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to meet some of the, meet him or
Some crazy guy.
no, but and then I thought we're so different. He was a surf. Well, when he used to tell me he surfed, and he used to ditch school, and he used to do all these crazy things that teenage boys do. And I was a whole different person. I was like, I was the shy, quiet one in school, but I did like music, and I liked going to concerts, and I wanted to meet, people who liked that kind of thing, but I was afraid to talk unless somebody talked to me first. So when I met him, he was such he talked, well, he could talk a lot, and I loved that because I didn't really know how to talk, and I thought that was great. And he still loved me for being who I was, and it was special. So it was fate. I guess we were supposed to meet, and we learned that even though you're so different and our paths went across, I don't think if he wasn't in war, because our groups would have never socially mixed.
Well, like some people think, they would always say it's like a fairy tale. Well, I mean, we lived a fairy tale. I mean, here we are. I mean, I'm 10,000 miles away from home, and she's just 6 miles away from where I used to be. And I mean, and all of a sudden it just comes in right around Orange County and this. And I thought, well, geez, something's, so I wrote to her, and I mean, that's.
I love it.
Yeah, even when we went to the first that Newport Pop Festival, because he was so different, he was a serviceman then and had short hair.
White walls.
That MTV or something like that was there at that time, and they seen Bob walking back because he went to go get my sweater. And they asked him what he was doing and asked him about being in the service and being at the concert, and because
you got interviewed?
Pardon?
You got interviewed?
Yeah, I got interviewed. There was a few times, that I got interviewed, but I mean, that was one that I got a big kick out of, because I didn't even know that I got interviewed, to be honest with you. And it was.
Well, you knew you got interviewed, but you didn't know it was on TV.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to be on TV or anything. But the thing is that when my son had went to England to do some work for his company over here, and Marilyn and I were at home. She's on the couch, and I'm laying on a low seat, and I'm watching this Music of '68. And all of a sudden, here I am, this long-haired hippie guy. He's asking me what I thought about the Vietnam War, and and he's asking me about what I did and when I was there and all this. And I didn't think nothing about it. I mean, I didn't even know what somebody was. Actually, I didn't even see a camera or whatever, but the guy was just talking to me. But then whenever I was laying there watching TV, and all of a sudden I told Marilyn, I said, holy man, yeah. I said, that's me, look. And
Your car was on there too?
Yeah,
your
my
Mustang?
car was on. I had an old '66 Mustang that I bought, paid cash for it, when I came home, and it was only like $1,700 for a Camaro. I mean, a Mustang. The most important thing is that first letter, and the love that she has for me, I have for her. It'll never end. It'll never die. Well, the one thing that I'm going to say, and I've said this many times before, the best thing that came out of that Vietnam War is sitting right beside me, and her name is Marilyn. She's my love, she's my wife, she's a mother, my grandmother, great-grandmother, and she means the world to me. And being in Vietnam was that's how I had to find her. And 2 months before I came home, I wrote her that letter. Thank God that there's so many ifs that was there too, but we did it, and I'm just so proud. And this December 13th, so if anybody remembers December 13th, it's going to be our 53rd wedding anniversary.
I had a few favorite songs, but we picked Happy Together, and his other one was Home, right?
Yeah,
For
Home.
our era, him, because home is about wanting to come home and being, you know, away from loved ones and stuff. That one's by Gary Puckett. And then Happy Together by the Turtles we love because this is what it made us, happy together, and our life
Imagine me
to
and you.
imagine me and you.
I dream about you every day and night. It's only right to think about the girl you love and hold her tight. So happy together. It's like Gary's song, that the thing that I said it earlier, but is that when it first starts out, and when it starts out and dreaming about momless chocolate cake, I mean, it's just like, that's a thing that you did. You know, you dreamed about something that we didn't have, but we would love to, you know, to have at that time. And but it just the way it goes through. I mean, and when I hear it, I see myself back in Vietnam. I see myself in my bunker. And one part of the song is looking to the heavens, which I did every night, looking in the heavens and talking to God. And the thing was, is he was always with me. I had no fear about dying, I mean, and I still don't. I mean, but it's just the thing that song just meant so much to me. And that's why I think that whenever Gary and I think we've got, you know, he's
Gary
helped
Puckett.
me be a lot.
Yeah, Gary Puckett.
Gary Puckett started, you know, he helped me be even a better person too. And
How did he help you?
well, actually, I don't think he realizes it, but it was his dad that did. Because his dad was a POW at the Battle of the Bulge. His dad also was a Purple Heart recipient. But when he came out here, or when they moved down there in by the San Diego area, that's when Gary started a band. Him and I kind of talked about different things, and that whenever he would talk about his dad, I mean, you could see it in his eyes, and I mean, and so I mean, we just hit it off, and I mean, and then he helped me. He's, you know, we went to a concert that he was putting on down in by San Diego area for his sister, and it was to help give food to people. And so, but the thing is we got to talking. I mean, the whole time. I mean, but this is how, when he would give me CDs to give to my brothers and sisters, and at the VA at Christmas time, I had like 180 CDs to hand out to people that's in the hospital for Christmas. And so it just, he didn't have to do that, but he did that. And so, I mean, it just, I just think that as far as becoming a patriot or whatever, I'm a brother, and that's it.
Um, well, I spent a lot of time talking to God and praying and trying to figure out life and basically who I am and what was our purpose here. And so I was trying to be the best I could. I supported him, like going to, because he drank, but we didn't know about PTSD I just knew he was having a problem, and I didn't know it was because he never talked about the war and had nobody to share it with. So
Come on, baby. Okay.
okay, but we got through it.
Yeah, we got through it because we're a couple. And so, I mean, you just don't give up on each other.
Yeah, we didn't give up, and he had the courage to change. So God did answer our prayers, and now we have a beautiful life together.
And 43 years
And
I've
all
been
it-
sober, and I try to help
our
my
kids-
brothers too with.
Our kids and our grandkids and our great-grandkids are the blessings we reap.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's just been so many blessings that we've had. I mean, it's just with all the family. You know, I mean, with some people don't like in-laws. Man, I love all my in-laws. I love my family. I mean, Marilyn's mom took me in like her own son. As nobody could understand me, but the thing is that he came out with that born on 4th of July. And the thing was, is my mother-in-law, she seen that movie and she told me, she says, Bob, I didn't know what you guys went through. But the thing is that we can't, we have to live with it. I mean, my dad lived with it too. He was a POW in World War II. He wouldn't tell me anything until I came home from Vietnam. He opened up to me. And we knew exactly. I remember something that made me feel so blessed was the day that I was going to Vietnam. In a way I felt bad, in a way I felt great. Where I felt bad because I had to go up to the airport myself and they didn't take off to go, to take me up there. Well, I mean, that's just growing up. But the first time my dad ever gave me a hug and gave me a kiss and says, I love you, son, come home. And believe me, that hit home. And so, but it's just that when I came home, we sat and we talked, and I mean, and he told me things about, and he knew exactly what I was going to say. We aren't just, but it's just like I said earlier, any of the veterans that we are more comfortable around veterans than we are anybody else, combat veterans. And when they're not combat veterans too. But it's just that we help each other out. We're going to make sure everybody gets help one way or the other. If we can't help them, we'll get somebody there that can help them. So, but hey, God works in mysterious ways, and believe me, he did. For her to put up with me, because I can remember the first night that the first night Mom and Dad, they had me over for food, for a dinner, and we're sitting around the table. I remember this really clear. Mm-hmm. And so my wife, Marilyn, was she lived right across the street from Disneyland. And so the thing was is that Disneyland, when they used to set off fireworks at 9 o'clock at night. And so we were sitting having dessert about 9 o'clock at night, and the first firework went up, and I yelled incoming, and I dove underneath their table, and they didn't know what was going on. And I think that was my first inclination of what PTSD was, because it's been like that ever since. I find a hiding spot on the 4th of July, but I go bananas when, because it was, I remember seeing in Vietnam when the mortars would go off. I mean, they weren't that close, but when they went off, I mean, they started getting closer, but so you get worried. And so, but the thing was is that loud noises just got to me. And I remember the first night, when I came home, I had been up for 5 days already. I hadn't slept. And I get home and I called her and I talked to her, and then I sat down with my folks and we sat out on the porch, and I was drinking beer like I needed. And so when we went to bed, I went to bed, and my old bedroom when I was living at home is that there was my mother had put these gold curtains on the window and the old pull down blinds. And so the thing was is that I was laying down and I was in halfway between sleep and still being awake. And so the thing was is there was this, in Santa Ana they have little drainage dips. And so a car came down and backfired. And so in my window, the lights shone into my window when he backfired, and I knew that was a mortar going off out there. And then I looked to the left and there was 2 Viet Cong coming at me. And so I jumped up and I ran after him, and I got out to the living room and nobody was there. And then I stayed up for another 2 days because I couldn't trust nothing over here. So, but we never got welcome home until Desert Storm. And the thing was, Desert Storm was the turning point because a lot of the people in government was Vietnam veterans. And they said one thing: our sons are not coming home to what we came home to. But that's even the World War II, the Korean, and the Vietnam vets, nobody ever came up before then and say, hey, welcome home, or, thank you for your service. I mean, it was just, I just seen that from that time on. And I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but the thing of it is that then everybody started going out of their way to, and so it's just, I just don't know. Like I said, I have a different, it's like 9/11. This is something now I say. 9/11, nobody flew a flag before 9/11. After 9/11, everybody, man, they had a flag flying everywhere. In their cars and but then I told Marilyn, even when it first started, I said, I just hope everybody keeps it up. I hope that they keep flying that flag because, that flag means so much. And veterans know exactly how much it means. We know exactly what that red's in there, the white in there, the blues in there, the stars in there. We know so much about that flag that people don't even know. And we try to relate it to people, but they,
short-term memory.
But
too.
then 6 months, you couldn't even buy a flag here in California for 6 months. And after 6 months, like I told her, I said, I hope it's just not a fad like everything else. And it was.
But it seems like when they do thank you, I see that it does mean something to you. That
believe me, when I see flags flying,
but when the young boys thank you, or somebody comes up to you in the store and goes out of their way to say thank you for your service. And you've created a lot of bonds by that with people too. And I could see how much it does mean to, even though you didn't get it when you were young, I could see that it does. And every veteran that I see, in my eyes, I see how it makes them feel, especially the Vietnam veterans that weren't thanked, because we have a lot of friends that are Vietnam veterans, and they say, oh, that person just thanked me for my service, and it seems like they have a genuine love that they're getting now, so I think it's good.
And she has shown me the way too to help, and she's right beside me helping do stuff for my veterans, my brothers, my sisters. Oh, well, when I go down to the VA, is I see somebody in a wheelchair, you know, in one leg, and they're having problems. I try to help them I'll wheel them around. But then when I see them, if they're out by my car, I like to, you know, I've got these little backpacks and little towels that they can have, and I give it to them. And they said, well, how much? I said, no, it's yours right there. You worked for it already. You paid for it. But it's just, I like to see that they have something like that. My daughter, son-in-law, my grandkids, they have a place called Elite Sports here in the city of Orange. They make blankets, you know, some blankets that I would give out. They make backpacks, they make the towels, they make my shirts too. I'm my daughter and son-in-law's walking billboard.
No, but you know what? They're a softball, they specialize in softball equipment, and they did this as a special thing for him. Yeah. They started making the shirts that he liked, and they started from a few shirts. They did the backpacks now, and they also have the towels, and they did but it was all for you.
From your passion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they do them in honor of you too.
Because they know how much they're proud of me being a Vietnam veteran. I'm proud of being a Vietnam veteran. I don't care what anybody says. We did a good job, and that's all that counts. Whenever I would hand them anything, a blanket or beads, anything that I made, is that smile. If they smiled, I smiled. If they cried, I cried. I would hug them. They would hug me. I mean, it's just, to me, this is what we need to do to be together as a human being.
You're a healing agent. That's why you made it home, because you are a healing agent.
Well, it was my healing agent because it was helping me at the same time that it was going to be helping them. And the 500 and whatever, 550 some blankets that I made, they healed me because I was making 8 of those a day. But I mean, I would cut them out. I'd cut them, pin them out. I got pins, safety pins up the kazoo at home, and I would put the pins around there. I'd cut them all out, and then I'd lay them out and mark them out, and then I'd cut them with the scissors, and then I'd tie everyone, but everyone was tied with love too. And I mean, I want to stipulate that. And even though I was hurting from my back, my legs, that's just little pain. What they're going through too is a lot of pain too. And so one thing I'd like to say before we quit is I want to say, Susan, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and
my heart,
for doing this special education. Now I'm going to stress that, education about Vietnam, that people still, to this day, still don't know anything about what Vietnam was all about. And just want to say thank you. And again, we love you. Thanks for doing what you do. And may God bless you along the way. And you know that we're here for you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Susan.
Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you.
With all our heart.
Truly my honor, as I mentioned before, truly my honor, and he is blessing me every step of the way, because this is all him.
Hey.
Guiding you. Yes.
He's just using me